2 months ago, I lost my online teaching job, which I had for the last 15 years. For some internal reasons, the company had to shut down permanently. So in the middle of the COVID pandemic and eventual lockdowns, I practically didn't have any steady source of income. But I put in work, and only after 2 or 3 weeks, I finally got myself new teaching jobs with 2 companies. Now, I'm also a member of some online English teacher groups in Facebook, and I notice not only that more and more people are getting more interested in online teaching, but also I read about people getting disappointed because they have to reapply or because they failed their online job application. So if you're wondering what you must do and not do so you will get yourself an online teaching job or just any job, then let's talk about getting hired quickly and the don'ts of applying for an online teaching job. Hello again and welcome back to Gravy English, your go-to channel for everything about better English. My name is Teacher Chris. Before you even start writing your resume, make sure that you do a self-reflection and really make a clear decisions about the things that you want for an online job. You might want to consider if you'll be working as a freelancer or a part-timer for certain companies, or whether you'll be teaching kids or adults. Another thing to consider is whether your resources are more suitable for audio classes only or for video classes. Or you might also think about working at local time or other time zones. By deciding on these things right at the very beginning, you're not only making your job hunting more specific, but also more strategic. And so you don't really waste a lot of time by applying to companies that you're only semi-interested in. You need to focus your time, energy, and efforts to jobs and companies that you're really interested in if you want to get hired quickly and also keep the job for a long time. If you're not into kids or you don't like teaching kids, then don't apply to a bunch of companies who cater to kids. Or if you don't want to make lesson materials or you don't have the skills to make them, then find companies who offer ready-made materials for teachers. Don't be simply reactive. Simply put, be proactive instead. You really have to network and proactively find those companies who are looking for people like you. Nowadays, it's so easy to have access to where jobs are. We have company websites and social media platforms as well. But ironically, some people don't take a proactive approach whenever they are presented with good opportunities. Many online English schools nowadays post their job ads on social media groups, and their ads usually would describe job positions clearly, and they also include complete instructions on how to apply for those job positions. Interestingly, some people would simply comment on those posts with something like PM for details or interested here, can you give me more details? And then they expect the companies to reply or give them more details. This is actually a more reactive instead of a proactive approach. If you really want a job, then read the ad thoroughly and take actions right away while the job ad is fresh and not so many people know about it. And there's really nothing more embarrassing than to be told by the advertiser or the job hunter to read the ad again and then just simply follow the instructions if you really want to apply. From experience, you are more likely to get the job quicker if you have someone to refer you to the companies. So be on the lookout for relatives, friends, or even social media group members who can help you out with your job application. If you have a referral, then you might be able to skip the few steps of the screening process and speed up your application as well. Never ever send out resumes that are outdated or incomplete, and most importantly, don't send out generic cover letters and resumes. If you're applying for an online teaching job, make sure that you tailor it so that it would highlight your online teaching job experiences and communication skills. Highlighting your communication skills is also very important if you don't have solid teaching job experiences. Don't leave out your experiences with public speaking, or if you had a tutorial job when you were in college, or even a call center job. You can also include samples of your video classes, or if you are doing educational content like in YouTube, then include a link of that to your resume as well. And last but not least, proofread your resume. I can't emphasize more that your resume is your first proof for having good grammar skills, which is, by the way, very important if you're applying as an online English teacher. Apart from the resume, many online English schools nowadays also require their applicants to send additional documents and proofs. They might require you to take screenshots of your PC specification as well as the result of your internet speed test, a video or an audio introduction. And in these introductions, they might specify the number of minutes as well as your frame or video frame, and also the right background for your video. They might also require you to send sample videos of your actual video classes. So make sure that you send all of them and not just send your resumes hoping that you can follow up with all other requirements. Another thing is to follow the instructions on how to send out your requirements. So make sure that you understood the way or mode of sending your requirements. Is it by email, or do you need to fill up Google form, or you need to register on their website instead? When it comes to your interview appointment, make sure that once you get an invitation, you confirm the date and time right away. Do not put it off to a later date or time, because as you know, HR and job hunters are very busy and they interview a lot of applicants every day. So make sure that you grab the opportunity right away if you're gonna get an interview. Once you get your interview invitation, also take note of the additional instructions that you must follow, or take note of other requirements that you might be required to send before the interview. Well, you might be required to send additional documents to substantiate your resume. So make sure that you accomplish them. You need to ask the interviewer if the interview is going to be a video interview or just an interview through phone. Find out what platforms you're going to use for the interview. Is it going to be through Zoom or Google Meet or other platforms? Also, don't forget to ask if you need to give a demo during the interview day, or if you need to take some tests before that interview. A very important thing to do. If there are instructions that you don't understand, make sure that you ask clarifying questions from the job hunter or the HR. On your interview day, make sure that you have prepared everything. The first thing that you have to make sure that you have prepared well is your workstation. So take note of your environment. Make sure that it's quiet enough to have the interview. If there are noisy children in your home, then ask them to go somewhere else first, maybe your neighbor, and stay there until you're done with your interview. And also take note of your lighting. Make sure that you can be clearly seen by your interviewer, and make sure that your gadgets or equipments are working well. So double check and check your webcam, your headset, your computer, and your internet connection. Your interview might be your only chance to get this job, so make sure that everything is prepared well. Another thing to prepare for the interview is yourself. Make sure that you have prepared enough so that you can speak fluently and spontaneously during the interview. Also, try to anticipate the questions that the interviewer might ask you during the interview. I didn't say memorize them, that's actually a very bad idea, but instead try to rehearse in your mind, or at least get some ideas on how you will answer those questions. Get some ideas on how you'll answer questions like tell something about yourself, or talk about about the most challenging experience that you had as a teacher and how you overcame those challenges. So you'll probably be asked about situational questions, so think about them. Also, don't forget to review and refresh your knowledge about grammar. As an English teacher, it's logical that you're expected to have good grammar and you can teach grammar. And if you're teaching special skills like test-taking skills, make sure that you also know those things by heart. So if you're teaching TOEFL or IELTS or any other test, then make sure that you have read about them and you have read information about them, including what are the different types or what are the criteria for grading the students. Online English teachers are expected to be on time all the time, even when they're having their classes. So for your interview, I actually suggest to be online, not on time, but 15 or even 20 minutes before your scheduled interview. And lastly, even when you're nervous, don't forget to smile and establish eye contact. Even if it's a video interview or online interview, make sure that you look at your webcam and that your interviewer can see your face clearly. The same with your interview, make sure that you have prepared everything for your demo. Your workstation, your equipment, yourself, and your teaching materials. And speaking of teaching materials, make sure that you know it by heart. So that means you need to rehearse it before your actual demo. Practice your teaching materials with someone else, if not a student. By doing so, you can anticipate any problem that might come out during the actual demo itself. During the demo, just be yourself. But you should also try to be as friendly as much as you can, and especially if you're teaching kids, try to smile most of the time and do your best to really show that you are a caring and a competent teacher. Now that you're done with your interview or demo, you might want to follow up on your application. So go ahead and send an email to express your interest in the job and to ask for further instructions on how to go about your application. And don't forget to update them with your contact information as well. If you think you did your best and still did not get any reply about your application, then just try again. Find other companies, then go ahead and send your best resume again and do all what is required of you. Figure out what went wrong in your previous applications or your interview or demo and make sure that you learn from them and you better yourself. There you go, some tips on how to get hired quickly, especially if you're applying for an online teaching job or just any jobs online. If you think this content is useful or if you learned something valuable today, please don't forget to like and share and please subscribe. It'll be a big help for this channel. And I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!